Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. I'm at Baselworld 2013 with Ulysse Nardin. I'm sitting here with Patrik Hoffman, the CEO. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you for your time.
So you have some really exciting new movements this year. Tell me, how many new movements does Ulysse Nardin have for 2013?
Well, this year is really a commitment, I would say a commitment to independence of Ulysse Nardin's manufacture of movements. We have a total of 5 new movements which we're introducing here in Basel. That was not really planned all at once, but it happened to be like this.
That's fantastic. So I'm most excited about the Chronograph. So that's here, right? So this is the marine Chronograph.
This is a new Chronograph. It's the first time that we produce a Chronograph movement in-house, and for me the exciting part about it is that it has been developed with a dial in a Grand Feu enamel.
Oh, so
which
it's
is also produced in-house since we acquired Baselworld a couple of years ago. So it is a very iconic piece, of course, because marine, the sea, is really part of Ulysse Nardin's history.
So tell us about this movement. What makes the movement? What's the caliber name?
The caliber name is 150, and what you're holding here is actually a limited edition of 150 pieces with that Grand Feu enamel dial. There's a big story behind this actually, because over 20 years ago we started the development of a perpetual calendar together with Lemania and with aBle. And the base plate which we used was the same for aBle, for their Chronograph, and for Ulysse Nardin for our perpetual calendar. Now we bought all the rights, we bought the parts, we bought the tools, we took over part of the staff from aBle, and we have now integrated the production of the Chronograph internally, in-house, and we can now use really the synergies together with our perpetual calendar.
So mechanically, what are some of the special features as it has? Because we know that obviously diamond seal is a specialty of Ulysse Nardin.
Yeah.
Tell us about how diamond seal works in the Chronograph.
Okay, in this particular case we use silicium. We don't use diamond seal. We see really long-term an advantage for the consumer if we use silicium. We have now a long experience in producing those escapements in silicium, and I think here the big advantage, of course, is the friction. We don't need any oiling, the material is very light, and it makes it more accurate.
That's fantastic. It's a beautiful movement. It's really nicely finished, and I love the rotor there. So that's the Chronograph, and what are the prices on these Chronographs going to be?
Now here I'm not quite sure how those prices are. They're around 11,000, 12,000 in stainless steel, and going up in the prices of the 30s in gold.
Beautiful. So that's the new marine Chronograph.
That's the main Chronograph.
We also have a very exciting piece, part of the Freak collection here. I want you to tell us about this one, because I've always liked the Freak.
That's my personal piece which you're holding here. It is really a development. It's an evolution of the first Freak generation, and it's also a new movement. It's part of our 5 new movements. The difference here is that the movement is a flying tourbillon carousel, so it's now flying. That helps us with the water resistance of the case. It helps us somewhat with the accuracy, and when you look at the design of the watch, which is called the Cruiser, so it's the Freak Cruiser.
Freak Cruiser.
You see elements like the waves on the bezel. You see elements like the anchor. So the bridge, the main bridge, which is actually also at the same time the minute hand, is representing an anchor. So again, the history of Ulysse Nardin in the anchor is represented here very well.
This is probably like the most legible Freak that you've made.
That's correct.
It's fantastic.
That's a nice
So it also
advantage.
comes in gold, of course.
Yeah. Here we have it in gold, even more readable in my opinion, because that anchor in gold really sticks out.
So that's the Freak Cruiser?
Freak Cruiser, yes.
Beautiful. Yeah. So we also have a very interesting piece here. This is a beautiful watch. Tell us about this one.
I'm very proud of this one actually. It is of course a complete in-house movement, just like the others we showed you. It is a skeleton manufacture with a tourbillon. Our in-house tourbillon produced with our silicium technology. Plus, the caliber is called caliber 170. It means more than just the caliber. It means also it has a power reserve of 170 hours. It's a double barrel system with a power reserve of 7 days.
7-day tourbillon.
The look, the design of the bridges is very distinctive, and we were inspired by a pocket watch which we produced in 1922. So the look and the shape of those bridges is very much like our our pocket watches of 1922.
That's fantastic. So what's the name of this piece again?
Skeleton Manufacture.
Skeleton
It's
manufacture.
limited to 99 pieces in platinum and the 99 pieces in red gold.
Beautiful.
For me, beautiful timepieces and a very attractive price range, by the way. It is around 65,000 US dollars.
That's much lower than I expected. That's fantastic. Yeah. So here's an interesting ladies piece. I haven't seen this one yet. Oh, that is very nice.
Okay, this is a story which started 10 years ago by our chairwoman, Chai Schneider, the widow of our late Rolf Schneider, the former owner and president of the company. She asked him 10 years ago, why don't you produce a timepiece which is easy on my nails? I would like to have a manufacture.
Easy on her nails?
On her nails. I would like to have a manicure-friendly timepiece. What does it mean? The crown cannot be pulled. So the crown can only be turned clockwise and anti-clockwise. So there's a pusher there at 4 o'clock. Exactly. So you have a crown selector with a 1, 2, 3 selection, winding, changing the date backward and forward, and winding the watch.
I love these diamonds on the rotor.
Very beautiful rotor. Again, silicium technology. It's in-house. It's our hairspring, our own escapement in our silicium technology.
What's the name of this piece?
The name of the piece is Jade.
Jade.
What you're holding right now is a piece with a mother of pearl dial and those 4 elements in lapis. The top model of this line comes with jade elements. And as we know, jade is a very, very expensive material.
This is
if
beautiful.
It's the top of jade which we use, it is exquisite. And so we said jade is a good name. Jade is a name which stands very nicely. So we call the entire line
It's
jade.
interesting here how there's diamonds set on the inside.
Yes.
Of the
there are a lot of details like the snow setting, the bezel, the inside bezel, the diamonds on the lock, and even diamonds on the rotor.
That's fantastic. So in-house is really a major part of the brand over the last couple of years. Tell us what percentage of the products you're making now feature in-house movements.
Okay, this is changing rapidly. I cannot give you any figure. I suspect that we're going to be at about 95-98% in the next 4 years. So we are still using a number of ETA movements which we adjust. Everything which was new today to show you what was in-house, but we are right now in the transformation. And it started really a year ago when we had the caliber 118, where we're going to produce between 8,000 and 9,000 movements of the 118 caliber. That's enormous. And now here with those 5 additional movements now, I would say now it's a real commitment. A year ago we said, okay, we can do our own movement, even in big quantities. Okay. Now, 5 movements, it's a commitment.
That makes sense. Let me ask you a question. 5 years from now, when, as you say, most of the movements will be in-house made, how is that going to affect the average price point of the watches in 5 years versus today? Is it going to go up, or are you going to sort of, use that ability to make stuff in-house, keep the price points at a reasonable level as they have been?
I think I can say that Ulysse Nardin always had, in our price range, where we are very reasonable prices. So you're not going to see here an enormous jump. There is a price difference. We saw that in the caliber 118.
Right.
You will see this here. But when you take a price range of a freak, when you take a price range of a skeleton, you don't see a difference. If you take our marine line, which is the basic line, of course you see a small difference, but this will not explode. I would say Ulysse Nardin is one of the luxury brands which always had fair pricing.
Right, that makes sense. Anyways, Patrik, thank you so much for showing us the 2013 Ulysse Nardin watches, and you can read more on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.